We are live. This is supposed to be an age of enlightenment. We've had philosophy and science. What's the purpose of a scientific theory? How can you ever come to critically analyze these different training methods unless you know the definition of a theory, which I'll give you right now? A theory is a set of non-contradictory abstract principles or ideas, philosophers like to call them principles, which purports to be either a correct description of reality or a guideline for a successful podcast. Let's introduce our guest, ANewCrusade. He's a Californian, and that's good enough for me. Would you like to say a few words about yourself as we start?
Yeah, I have lots of theories.
Is that enough of an intro for you?
I think so.
I've been a big proponent of HIIT, high intensity training. However, perhaps the most important part of HIIT exercise is perhaps the most important of HIIT training is that you can perform is the exercise of restraint. Restraining that tendency to always do more leggings. Remember, your leggings have to recover, and when you do too many high-intensity legging set, you're not going to give your leggings enough time to recover between workouts. Now, I teach my students never to train leggings more than 4 minutes a day, and in some cases, even 10 minutes out of every 7 days is too much training. What do you think, ANewCrusade? What is the proper amount of leggings per week to see maximal leggings?
I think that 0 is probably best because if you think about it, you're wearing pants and pants cover your legs, which means you never need to train your legs. But you should never be wearing a shirt, which means you should always be training your upper body, which means you should never train your legs. So 0.
0, you've heard it here on the RPE podcast. We say don't train leggings at all. Now, I have a video to present to you of someone training leggings. This embarrassment we must watch repeatedly forever. Do you see how embarrassing it is to train leggings? Let's listen to this again, because this is my favorite clip on the internet of everything. Would you take this as scientific evidence that no man should ever train leggings?
Precisely. You can see the absolute lack of aura here. Why? What's the point in training so hard to look so bad? Do you know that he's bigger than you?
I heard that he could be a master in whatever discipline I've been doing my entire life in 10 weeks.
Exactly, because you need 10,000 hours to be a master, and he's taken his day and split it up. You only have one day, 24 hours, but he has 4 days. First, midnight to 6 a.m. That's his first day. 6 a.m. to noon. That's his second day. Noon to 6 p.m. That's his third day. And 6 p.m. to midnight is his fourth day. So he gets 4 days done, which means he hits 10,000 hours in 1 month.
Incredible. This is why no one has ever defeated Dr. Mike Israetel, another one of the famous Dr. Mikes.
Exactly.
So
there are 3. You.
There are 3?
Yes, there's you. There's the Russian Jew, Dr. Mike, the exercise gentleman. And there's the other Russian Jew, Dr. Mike, the guy who spreads vaccine propaganda online. Yes, and they actually hang out together and talk about it together.
This is a good thing Mike Parrott is not also a doctor.
Yes, exactly.
We could have more Dr. Mikes. Now, it's a scientific fact that volume doesn't matter as much as intensity. But when I train leggings, I intensely train leggings. So, ANewCrusade, what is the most intensely leggings color, and why is it neon green?
I disagree, actually.
It's not neon green?
I disagree. I don't think it's neon green. Have you seen the ones, that brown color that kind of looks like skin color, and then the girl wears it, and then you think she's naked, and then you look over and she's just wearing brown skin color leggings? That's the most intense color. because momentarily I almost call the police on her to get her locked up.
It's a funny thing that you should say that because we have an exact video of this woman. Now, because we are a scientific podcast and the SedeP Domination World Network is required by Catholic morals to explicitly show everything we reference in this video conversation podcast with exact extreme scientific accuracy. So we are going to see now this exact woman, and we're going to draw all over her to point out exactly the problem with wearing these pants that you see right here, that with the same color of skin as you see right here.
Absolutely sinful. In a just world, she would be drawn and quartered. And I think it's a complete shame. I think that really, you have two options, dumbbells or cables. And since cables keep continuous tension, that is what should be strapped to each of her limbs when she's drawn and quartered, so that she can be cleanly brought into 4 different equally sized portions. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's incredibly accurate and scientifically proven to be true. Now, this lady over here, who is wearing very baggy clothes in this general area, we decided to cover her up too, to make equality between these two women, the extreme evil woman and the good woman over here. But even on this good woman, she still has pants on, even despite their bagginess. What do we do with this woman?
The only issue here is that she's wearing pants. The trick, I think, is an exercise skirt. And I actually sell them exercise skirts at exercisemuslimskirt.com.
Okay, you got me on that one. For the next slide, we have to look at different types of leggings. There are cotton leggings, polyester leggings, chicken leggings, nylon leggings, Spanish leggings, spandex leggings, leather leggings, fox leather leggings, velvet leggings, wool leggings, silk leggings, and leggings. How would you rank these in order of how much leggings they are?
Yes. Velvet, chicken, Spanish, cotton, wool, faux leather, silk, legging, and silk finally at number 1.
This is quite unexpected. We expected only Spanish leggings to be acceptable since we are both of Hispanic origins.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
You're not Hispanic origin?
No, I'm white.
That includes Spanish for the purposes of being Californian.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sorry. I misunderstood you. I thought you were trying to say that I'm Mexican.
Oh, we're definitely not Mexicans here.
They don't let Mexican guys into my frat.
So what is the primary difference between leggings and jeggings? Aren't they all just skinny pants?
It used to be popular to wear skinny pants, but now it's popular to wear baggy pants. So now I wear baggy pants, and those aren't jeggings, because eggings means that they're skinny, but I wear the pants that are really baggy and give you a lot of room. And those are better because when you're doing your squats, they give you more room to do your squats. But since I don't do squats, what I use them for is to hide my legs. And that's good because then that means I can train my upper body more. Recently, I've mainly been focusing on like biceps and shoulders and rear delts and not really front delts. And you know that you can train your biceps actually every single day pretty much. I learned that from the Trend Twins because they know that you only really need to do bench press and train your biceps, and that will be everything you need, because when you're wearing baggy pants, it covers up your legs, and that's why you don't wear leggings or jeggings.
I love this answer. I too follow it. Sometimes I wear a giant Dodger blanket around my lower body just so no one sees what it looks like. So in anime, you occasionally see men wearing underpants on their head, usually when they're drunk. Does wearing compression underpants on your head relieve headaches?
No, usually compressing your head gives you headaches. Like this hat, for example, is much too tight on my head, and so I have a headache right now. But
Mm.
if you're not wearing a sufficiently tight hat, it cannot perch precariously atop your noggin and also stay on while you do really, really cool CrossFit pull-ups, which improve your upper body. And that's what really matters. And this is why you have to wear pants, so that while you're doing pull-ups, your upper body gets strong and you do not have to train your legs.
That's another fantastic answer. In this slide here, we have, and again, we would like to remind our audience that we are a Catholic scientific podcast, which demands that we explicitly show everything we talk about. How much jeggings does woman help? How much does jeggings in the woman to help the woman in picture A accentuate her straight up jegging hotness? We are, of course, referring to this box.
Yes. It honestly actually brings it down, I think, because she would have bigger shoulders if she stopped wearing them so that she could only train her upper body.
It seemed to me that it's the same color as her upper body. So wouldn't this actually be a leotard?
Well, I don't really think it's nice to say that about Pope Leo, so I'm just going to not really dignify that comment, I think.
Is that the new word for Pope Respecter?
Yeah, leotard.
This woman over here, oops, wrong thing, is doing the most woman thing of all. She is taking the dreaded selfie. The question that we have to ask is, which of all the social media platforms increases the most gains from leggings? Is it Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, or Snapchat?
Do you remember Google Plus?
Yes.
Google Plus. Now, this one is interesting because it reminds me very much of someone who does not have any gains. It reminds me, and you can see down at the bottom, underneath those boxes, there's one clear person that this is obviously referencing. It's obviously referencing the religious hippie who does not have any gains, because you can see what is exposed down under there is the same thing that the religious hippie posts on Twitter. And this is how you know that Twitter is actually catabolic. Now, for those of you who do not know, catabolic means it is opposed to muscle building. So catabolic would be like, I don't eat for 5 weeks. That is catabolic.
It is much better than its opposite, which is dogabolic, which oftentimes leads you to run around aimlessly after four-legged creatures. I would just like to add, religious hippie is known for posting feet pics of what she wears before she goes to mass, and she's been shamed off the internet for posting whatever she wears below the knees.
Exactly. This would not be allowed on my bodybuilding forum. Bodybuilding workout skirts for Muslims.com.
In order to understand how important recovery is for full leggings to training to failure, we need to discuss recovery. Quoting myself, the reason I, Dr. Mike, have said, the reason some bodybuilders have gained leggings with volume training relates to the fact that steroids primarily act as recovery ability enhancers. Were those same bodybuilders to train for 2 hours a day, 6 days a week without steroids, they would begin to lose leggings mass almost immediately. For naturals, that supercharged recovery isn't there. ANewCrusade, how many drugs should people take to have the best leggings recovery?
Well, I think the obvious answer is none. The trick there is wearing baggy pants. Now, when you decide to wear your baggy pants, you won't have to train your legs, but you still should take drugs, but none for your legs. I think that the solution here is perhaps some ashwagandha. Now, this will help you sleep very well, which means that you can train your shoulders twice a day and train your biceps 3 times a day instead of once a day. Because the Trend twins, they're very buff, by the way. They said that you should train your biceps every single day, but if you take ashwagandha, then you can train your biceps 3 times a day because you'll be getting better sleep. I've also heard that there's this thing that they give to cows when they send them off to the slaughterhouses. And that would probably be good for you too, because if it keeps the cows buff, it will definitely keep you buff while you sleep. Now, sleep is something very interesting because when you're sleeping, you're not doing two things which you need to build muscle. The first is eating, and the second is working out. And so, because of that, you actually need to be taking drugs to keep your muscles strong while you're sleeping. But also, you need sleep to have energy. So, it's a bit of a catch-22, which is why steroids are so important.
We agree. This is why we rub steroids on our pecs every single night. We have yet to train, and yet they grow. You've
Yes.
heard of training to failure. How about we truly go to failure? A new crusade. How wearing how many pairs of leggings, in your opinion, is going to true failure? If you were to wear them, say, underneath your baggy pants.
Yes, I think that the obvious answer is however many it takes to see underneath my baggy pants. Now, the issue is that, of course, you don't want anything to be seen underneath your baggy pants. So I'm thinking you need 23 to 37 pairs to be seen, depending on which baggy pants you wear. Now, one of the things is that if you're wearing black baggy pants, your sweat will not show as clearly as if you are wearing, for example, gray baggy pants. And one of the advantages of wearing tight pants is that they do happen to aerate your body slightly better. And so I think that the advantage would you could wear tight pants and then also wear your gray pants on top. And this would allow your body to be aerated while also keeping the style of your baggy pants.
That's a fantastic point. Thank you so much for being on the podcast to share your wisdom with us. Now, as a final question, we've discussed how you should hit it hard, hit it briefly, and then rest long enough for it to recover. A new crusade, just how hard should men have to hit their wives who train leggings?
How often should men high intensity train their wives who hit leggings? I think that this is a very interesting answer, Dr. Mike, or a very interesting question. My apologies. High intensity training is actually completely contrary to all of my beliefs. I think that if the wives are taking the correct drugs, namely the cattle drug and ashwagandha, they should hopefully be able to train their upper bodies, like their trapezius, their rhomboids, their frontal and lateral deltoids, their superlateroids, perhaps the top of their abs, and maybe even the sides, that they could be able to train those perhaps 4 times a day. And that would leave much more time than if they were wasting time doing stuff for their legs. So I actually think that they should perhaps high intensity train their wives 0 times per day in order to maximize muscle growth.
Do we have any other comments, Mr. Professional Leggings Man, on this topic? Otherwise, I think we've covered all the main issues that I've seen in my comments.
Perhaps I would like to say that for women, if you would like a bundle deal on your workout skirts, that you're more than welcome to type in a code saying Arnold the number one Austrian with 3 Z's at the end. And you will definitely get 50% off your 5th pair of workout skirt that you order from me. And perhaps also men, if they would like baggy pants, they can buy them from my website, baggy pants that look like AladdinPants.com.
Thank you very much for being on the show, New Crusade. And that concludes the podcast for this week. Thank you all for coming.